to the United Stand. Transfer shows are back. Love it. Absolutely love it. Also, Football Index, the trade game, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. Link in the video description for that. But let's start off. Manchester United, January's not that far away. I don't like to think about January, to be honest with you, because I hate January. I like the build up to Christmas. I like the presents. I like the food. I like to enjoy it. But in a footballing sense, January is an exciting time of the year because it means that probably, maybe Manchester United might sign some players, and there's lots of players being floated around at the moment. You can see Milinkovic-Savic, Skriniar, Pellegrini below my name. There's a lot of Italian links. We'll also be talking about Alderweireld as well. But the interesting thing about this for me, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. There's a very interesting theory I have around the January transfer window with Manchester United. But why is Milinkovic-Savic back on the agenda? And this is really quite interesting because we've spoke about Milinkovic-Savic quite a lot over the last year. I felt he would have been a very, very good signing for United in the midfield last season. I think we should have bought two midfielders. Here we are, still lumbering through with Matic and Fellaini in our midfield. You know, we should have bought Milinkovic-Savic in the summer. We didn't. Then Milinkovic-Savic signed a new contract on October the 1st. So why is he now linked to Manchester United? And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mention Milinkovic-Savic in relation to Manchester United because it's a total waste of time, apart from what Lazio actually said themselves a day ago, is that in relation to Milinkovic-Savic, we don't have the financial power or resistance to say no to the right sort of financial package for Milinkovic-Savic. Now, I mean, that for me is Lazio getting their house in order. They spoke very, very publicly about this over the summer. We won't let Milinkovic-Savic go for less than £100 million. And then nobody wants him because he had a bad World Cup. And then he signs a new contract at Lazio to obviously get him on better terms. And I think that's all that contract's about. I don't think the fact that he signed the new contract means he's going to be at Lazio for the next 4 or 5 years. I think it's just about him having better terms in place. But would Manchester United move for Milinkovic-Savic? I think what Lazio are basically saying is if someone offers us the right money, we'll sell him. And that could be Real Madrid, that could be Manchester United. The reality is, do I now think that Milinkovic-Savic is a decent signing for Manchester United? And for me, it's a big no. It really is a big no because he's only scored 1 goal in 15 games. He had a very good season last year. He was good the season before. And then this season, he's not doing so well. And, I watch a lot of Italian football. And one thing I would say about Italian football, and I would put up a bit of a red flag in relation to your Skriniars and your other younger players that you're looking at, definitely Lorenzo Pellegrini at Roma, is that there is a tendency in Italy for somebody to have a very, very good season and then go quiet. And this has been going on for decades, but it's very prevalent recently. And maybe Milinkovic-Savic is about to go through that himself. But if you think about Belotti, scored a lot of goals last season, bad season. It does happen. And I think that is the thing that would make me concerned about Milinkovic-Savic, is I think Lazio are not going to sell for anything less than £80 million. And is he an £80 million player? I don't know. I don't think he's not setting the world on fire at the moment. He isn't. Will we lose Martial? What's your thoughts, Mark? Says Philip Burtonwood. We'll be talking about Martial in a minute. I want to talk about Skriniar. I mean, just very quickly on Milinkovic-Savic, what I'd also would say as well, I do like him, and I think Mourinho would look at him as a replacement for Pogba in the summer. If Mourinho is still here, that's what concerns me. But Milinkovic-Savic wouldn't bring what our midfield needs. We've got what our midfield needs on the bench. People like Fred, bit of speed. Look at that game against Man City. If you had a midfield 3 of Matic, Milinkovic-Savic and Fellaini, you may as well go home and get the bus early. We're not going to win. It's too slow. It's too static. And Milinkovic-Savic has a lot of positives, but he isn't the fastest player. Milan Skriniar, Inter Milan centre-back, currently playing Slovakian, and probably will be Slovakian till his dying day, to be honest, because you don't normally change your country. But Manchester United linked with him. He's a player I mentioned way before last summer as somebody we should have gone for. Sort of ahead of the curve, I was with that, and a few people were, and now we're not ahead of the curve. This is typical United. Snooze, you lose. It's the same with the managements. They take too long sacking managers. You miss out on the targets you want. When it comes to football players, we take too long on people and they end up being very popular by the time we make a move. I mean, some of these players, like Leon Bailey's been mentioned for a long time, Pulisic been mentioned for a long time, Skriniar has been mentioned for a long time, but we will wait until they become very, very popular before we make a move. Now, Skriniar is another player at at Inter Milan. Now, there's talk this morning. I was actually talking to somebody about this who was saying that United are going to go all out to get Skriniar. Now, what do you get with Skriniar? Well, whether you've seen him playing for Inter Milan against Barcelona recently, or you've been watching him, very, very tall, strong, combative, quick centre-back. I hate saying the new Vidic, but he could be that for Manchester United. He's a very, very good centre-back, and he's only in his early 20s. But Inter Milan would resist anything, I think, anything lower than £60 million. And whether United can do that, it's another matter. Now, he is contracted till 2022. There is some conflict. People thinking he's out of contract in 2020. It is 2022. There's just talk of new contract negotiations with Inter Milan. I like Skriniar. What I'm going to say is, though, and I can throw in Koulibaly, I can throw in Manolas, I can throw any Romagnoli from AC Milan, any centre-back you want to talk about from Serie A, I can pretty much say you've got zero chance of this happening in January. And I think people need to sort of lower... Well, Mourinho's best at lowering expectations. I don't want to lower expectations. I want to get expectations higher. But what I want to say about the January transfer window is this. You are not going to get Milan Skriniar no matter how much money you want to spend. You are not going to get Koulibaly from Napoli no matter how much you want to spend in January. And I think we need to, wake up to that. Get the Maxwell House on and smell the coffee, because we are not going to get a top quality centre-back in January unless it's a couple of players I'm going to mention in a moment. Because Inter Milan don't want to lose their best centre-back in January. Neither do Napoli. They don't want to do it, and more importantly, they don't need to do it. These clubs are not hard up. Italian football is on the way up, and they will sell them for the right price, but they won't do it in January, because January is a crap market to operate in. You look at Alexis Sanchez, that was a very good January signing, but there was a reason for it, and that big reason was he was going to go for free in the summer. So Arsenal did the deal in January. It's very difficult to do business in January, and we won't be doing that sort of business. We will not be bringing a centre-back of the quality of a Skriniar in unless we do something ridiculous, which we know our board won't do. I mean, if you went to Inter Milan and went, there's 80 million for Skriniar, they'd sell him now, and they would. But our club's not going to do that. We bargain for 5 million here and there. So I don't see Skriniar happening in January. Maybe in the summer. I would like him. Koulibaly, Napoli, very, very good centre-back. Very, very impressive in the Champions League again this year. Interestingly about Koulibaly, he has just signed a new contract at Napoli. And Napoli are notoriously difficult to deal with. So again, I think you're looking at... There's sort of a halfway house here, because Mourinho needs a signing in January. If he wants Koulibaly and Skriniar, he's going to have to look at that in the summer. Is Mourinho going to be here in the summer? I do not believe United are going to finish any better than 4th. If he finishes 4th in May, the board should sack him, because that's a massive drop off from 2nd, and it's not acceptable. So does a new manager want Koulibaly or Skriniar? So that, you know what I mean? I don't think these players are on the table. When it comes to centre-backs, for me, there are two options. One's going to terrify you, and one you'll probably be quite happy with, but I'm not. Gary Cahill is out of contract with Chelsea next summer. He is 32. I think he's 33 very, very soon. Mourinho would love Cahill at United, and Chelsea would love to give us Cahill. And that is a January signing for you there, because that replicates what happened with Alexis Sanchez. He is free in the summer, and Chelsea will probably say in January, give us 5 million, you can have Gary Cahill. And Mourinho will probably do it. So that terrifies me, because Gary Cahill, I mean, Jesus Christ. Let's just move on. That is a possibility. I'm just throwing it out there. The second possibility is Toby Alderweireld, whose contract is not up next summer. He has an option for a further year, but there is a clause in Alderweireld's contract, which means he can go for £25 million in next summer. So Spurs, if Alderweireld refuses to sign a new contract, may well say, well, you can go for 35 million now, and United would probably go 35 million in January for a 29-year-old centre-back who, for me, on his day, is one of the best Premier League centre-backs, Toby Alderweireld. However, if anybody saw him play against Switzerland, this reflects Alderweireld's last 8 months. It's very similar to Alexis Sanchez, actually. They're around the same age. On their day, they are two of the best players in the Premier League. But as that day gone, a lot of people feel that with Alexis Sanchez, he's on the decline. Toby Alderweireld, for me, ever since he came back from his last injury, has been very, very, very hit and miss. Very, very hit and miss. And for a man who's going to be 30 in March, I just think that United have made too many of these mistakes. We've done it with Matic. We've done it Alexis Sanchez. We've already got a lot of players who I feel are very injury prone and on the decline. I think Fellaini's going that way. Why go and spend money on a centre-back that we need a centre-back to come in and take hold of our defence? Can Toby Alderweireld do that? I mean, the big thing for Alderweireld for me is that he is hitting an age where he needs to adjust his game. Many centre-backs have done it. Rio Ferdinand did it. Vidic did it. He's losing pace because that's his age thing. But that doesn't have to be the end of a centre-back. John Terry is another one. You lose your pace, you adjust your game. You don't go as far forward as you used to. You read the game a little better. You step off a little bit. You go and win the challenges you can win because you don't want to get caught out for that pace that you're losing. When I look at Alderweireld, and especially when I've seen the goals in the Switzerland game, that's a centre-back who's not adjusting his game to his age. He can still be one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, but he's not adjusting his game to the drop-off in pace that he's experiencing through natural ageing. And that concerns me. Why would we, as a club, go and buy somebody who at the moment looks like he's on the decline? Now, maybe he will adjust his game and maybe it'd be a good signing. But personally, I do think that, are United going to win the title next season? No, we're not. So we're going to, by the earliest opportunity we're going to win a title, Alderweireld's going to be 31. Is that somebody that we need? I think we need to go and get someone a little bit younger. I mean, I'd like Koulibaly because he's 27. I'd like Skriniar because he's early 20s. And they are doing it at the highest level. But for me, not Alderweireld. But I know a lot of you do like him. Just sticking with Italy for a moment, Perisic. Inter Milan indicating that they would let Perisic go for £30 million. I'm a big fan of Perisic. There was talk of Perisic swap deal with Anthony Martial. The pros and cons of that are quite simple. The pros of it are that Perisic can put a decent cross in. The cons of it are that Martial is a better player, he's on fire and he's younger, and we should be building our team around Martial. Perisic, the ship sailed a long time ago. Thanks for the contribution, Tayu. Please do drop a like on the video if you like the transfer shows. We're bringing them back weekly, and then obviously in January they'll be back transfer daily at 7 a.m. every day. I really love it. We've been doing transfer stuff for years, and I enjoy it. I know some people don't. I do enjoy the transfer stuff. Sorry, but I do. I don't think we'll get De Ligt, George. I think he will be better. He will be acquired by better clubs, probably Barcelona. But obviously, I would like him. But Perisic, no. I mean, Perisic, I believe, is coming up for 30 in February. So again, 2 years ago, he would have been a good signing. It didn't happen, and we move on from that. On the situation of Anthony Martial, I'll say this now. I don't really want to talk about outs, but I've got a big list here. Darmian, De Gea, Martial, Herrera, Jones, Mata, Pereira, Smalling, Valencia, all out of contract next summer. That's ridiculous. Now, a lot of those players, Darmian, Jones, Smalling, Valencia, you probably get rid of. But to have nearly 10 first team squad players or first teamers free to go in the summer. Now, we've got year extensions on all of them, but a year extension just buys you time. It doesn't, we did it with Fellaini. It still rolls out. The year extension is just a security blanket for United to say, well, we can keep you for another year. But if any of those players are worth anything, you're over a barrel anyway. If we say to De Gea, we're keeping you for another year, he'll go, fine. I ain't signing a contract, so I'm going for free in a year. If we, De Gea, Martial, the Pereiras, you've got to be getting them on a contract. And I wonder why United are in this situation where we've got so many players dropping out of contract and we need to bring players in, and you've got Ed Woodward to do it all. I mean, it really is rabbit in headlights time, isn't it? We're not dealing with the players that we've got. Their contracts are running down. We're not bringing the right sort of players in. It's a mess. It is a mess at Manchester United at the moment. In relation to Martial, I have my concerns. I have my concerns with De Gea. I have my concerns with Pogba. I think they're three players that the club would love to get on long-term contracts, but I think they're three players who are unwilling to commit their long-term future to Manchester United at the moment because of, and not just because of, but Jose Mourinho sort of symbolises it, but realistically, it's the fact that we've not had a title challenge for 6 years. It's the fact that we're nowhere near winning a title or a Champions League. And these are three players who probably look at it and go, yeah, I don't even like the brand of football here, and we're not even winning anything. So why am I here other than I love Manchester United? Is that enough when I've only got a career that's probably going to, 5 years of my prime in front of me? Do I want to be here grafting with Everton for fifth, sixth, seventh place? And I think that is a concern for United fans. I'd love them to sign a new contract, of course I would, but I think it's a concern. I don't think we'll lose all three, but I would be... I think I said it the other day. I said, to be honest with you, I think this time next year, either Pogba or Mourinho will go. And I know who I hope it is. I really do. Lorenzo Pellegrini is a midfielder that we should discuss from Italy. Currently Roma. There was talk in the week that we were going to sign him because he's got a £27 million release clause. For people who don't know anything about him, I mean, it's the same old thing that gets rolled out. He's a bit of a Carrick. He's a bit of a Jorginho. He's 6'2". He's quite dynamic. He's quite quick. He's good on the ball. He's quite combative. He's in his early 20s. He's 22. I think he's just turned 22. And the release clause is there. However, his agent has come out and said, no, there is no prospect of a move to Manchester United anytime soon. And to be honest with you, as much as I like him, I don't think he's a player that would, he's just not a Manchester United player, is he? I mean, you look at, people will say, look, Mark. Mourinho hasn't just bought 29-year-olds. Look at Bailly, look at Lindelof, they were in their early 20s. Look at Pogba, look at Lukaku. Well, Pogba and Lukaku are more mid-20s, aren't they? And Pogba was always going to play because he was the most expensive signing in the world. Look at Lindelof and Bailly, though. Young players in and out of the team over the last 2 years. Is that development? And that's what I mean. A Pellegrini, as much as he's over 6'2", and that's something Mourinho would like, he's 22. Mourinho is not going to play a player like that. So I don't think there's anything in it. I don't think there's anything in it. Luke Skywalker says 6'2", Mourinho's eyes light up. Yeah, Rabiot's a player I wanted to mention. Rabiot at PSG, 23 years of age. Anyone who plays FIFA will know anything about him, but in real life, he's a decent prospect anyway. He's out of contract in the summer. Now, again, this, to me, I don't think United can do this deal, but as a CDM who can play in different positions, he would be perfect. And it saddens me because the clubs linked to him at the moment are your typical Bayern Munich, your Barcelona, and Chelsea. And that's where we are at the moment. I mean, Chelsea aren't even in the bloody Champions League, but they're rumoured to be in for Rabiot. Now, how are they doing that? Well, because they've got Sarri, they've got a brand of football, and they're going places. United, we can't go to Rabiot and say, come on, we'll pay you the wages and come to our club, because we could do with a player like that. I wouldn't mind a player like that. He's far more mobile than Matic, but we're not even going to be on the page of that. And that, again, is just an indication of where we are as a club, that there are certain signings that you've just got. It's like when you were talking about De Ligt there. You can't. We're not in for those players because if Barcelona or Bayern Munich or even Chelsea are in for them, they're going to go there then before they come us. We're really poor in relation to the situation that we are in and the players that we can attract. And a lot of you have spoken about that for the last 8 months. To be fair, that we will struggle to bring players in. Alexandro looks like he might be going to Chelsea. Mad Marcus says, any chance for Roy Keane now he's left Ireland? Very good contribution, Marcus. I appreciate that. Yeah, Roy Keane and Martin O'Neill have left Ireland at the coaching staff. As I said today, I'd get Roy Keane in at United tomorrow. I don't care about his coaching ability. Just send him into the dressing room before every game and at half time to absolutely tell everybody how important United is. Anybody who does any little dancing on their phone, ram it up their arse and make them dance then while it's on vibrate. We want to get rid of, we need that sort of mentality. We need some leadership. And I don't really care about what Roy Keane's coaching's like. It's probably quite good. But that club, Manchester United, needs some identity. And I would love Roy Keane to be brought in to United to give us some of that. I really, really would. He's available. They should go and do it. Of course, it's never going to happen, because Mourinho wouldn't want somebody to undermine his authority. And also, United don't get on with Keane because they backed Sir Alex, didn't they? Probably quite rightly, but it's a shame those two don't get on. But I would love to see a Roy Keane at United. Yeah, I would, because I think the club absolutely... We're eighth. We're eighth in the bloody Premier League with -1 goal difference. Now, hopefully at the weekend, we'll be able to get into positive figures and we might even move up to about 6th. But no, for me, I'd like to see a Roy Keane at United. I really, really would. Pellegrini, we spoke about. Cahill, Rabiot, Alderweireld, Martial, we spoke about. Witsel, didn't speak about Alex Witsel. So we were linked to Alex Witsel, who himself, I think he's 30 in February. He's over 6'2". He's got rubbish hair. Mourinho will obviously be after him. But realistically, this is a guy who went to play in China. He's now back at Borussia Dortmund. He's only just gone back to Borussia Dortmund. This is just... For me, I would put there up as the worst transfer story of the week is Alex Witsel to Manchester United. Because I think as much as Jose Mourinho would like him, he's only just gone to Borussia Dortmund. He's 30 and he's exactly what Manchester United do not need at this stage. So for me, that would be a big fat no. But I would say that with total and utter conviction. January transfer window. What do you think is possible? Get in the comments below if you're not watching live, or if you are watching live, come back. Because I think an element of realism is very, very important. And I think, doing this as a weekly, we'll be able to have a look at the transfer stories, and there has been a lot, and a weekly works well before the transfer window actually opens. But what is realistic in January? You will make your own mind up. But for me, I look at these situations and I say, you can't say Skriniar. You can't say Milinkovic-Savic in January. You cannot say Icardi. You cannot say anybody who is not in a situation where you've got to look at a player who's a disruption, a player who's coming towards the end of the contract, or a player at a club where that club needs to cash in for money. And I don't think in world football anymore, there aren't many clubs like that. There aren't many clubs anymore who are in a financial situation where they need to sell in January. Unfortunately, fortunately, that is what football is now. There is so much money in football. I mean, that is why you get teams like Everton spending over 100 million in the summer, and Fulham spending a lot of money, because, these things would have been unheard of 10, 15 years ago, but there's so much money swirling around in football now. You can't do that. So when I look at what United can do in January, I think some fans are looking at January like it's the big hope for us. And I just don't see it. I don't. I think Gary Cahill is realistic. Now, that is scary, because Gary Cahill should be an Aston Villa signing, not a Manchester United signing. And also, I think Mourinho's only going to look at defenders. I don't think he's going to look at midfield. I think his midfield, he loves his midfield. He's got Matic, he's got Fellaini, he's got McTominay, he's got Herrera, he's got Pogba, and then he's got Fred and Pereira if he's really bored. So up front, he's got Lukaku, he's got Rashford, he's got Sanchez, he's got Lingard. So he's going to be looking at centre-backs. And the centre-back, I would rather do no business in January than do stupid business. And stupid business would be something really stupid like a Gary Cahill. Toby Alderweireld, for me, is a no. But I can totally see why a lot of you would say yes. As I said, Alderweireld is, for me, one of the top 3 centre-backs in the Premier League on his day. But I ain't seeing enough of those days anymore. And a player who is approaching 30, who is losing a bit of pace, and who is not adjusting his game, and that's why he's getting found out a lot, I worry why he's the answer for Manchester United. We can't take any more risks at United. We can't do, all transfers are a risk, but we can't take risks like that on 29-year-olds anymore. You'd rather take a 23-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 27-year-old than a 29-year-old who might be on the decline. Because let's not forget, this is something that irritates me. And I fell into this trap as well, and I've learnt my lesson. Alexis Sanchez, I was really excited. Oh yeah, we're getting one of the best players in the Premier League. We sign him, he's crap, and we go, why is he crap? And then Arsenal fans say, yeah, we weren't just saying that. He was crap for months before we sold him. He was on the decline. And we've seen that. And I think with Alderweireld, it would be the same. We sign him, we think we're signing the best centre-back in the world. And then when he doesn't perform, we're like, what's going on? And Spurs fans say, yeah, you know what? He wasn't that good for the 6 months before you signed him. And that is what United cannot do again. Let's go and get somebody who is not on the potential decline. Let's go and get somebody who's on the way up or nearly up there. So Koulibaly would be great. Skriniar would be great, but then we come back to the issue. You're not going to get them in January. Not without a massive, massive, massive investment. And our owners don't want to do that. These are the same owners who wouldn't spend another 5 million on Sandro, who wouldn't spend another 5 million on Perisic, who, they wouldn't give him 30 million for Boateng, thank God. But you know what I mean? They're tight. They ain't going to go. Napoli will say, we'll go to Napoli for Koulibaly and we'll say 50 million. They'll go 80. If you want him in January, 80, and we'll walk away. Skriniar in January, yeah, if you want him 80, yeah, we're only going to give you 60. No. And that's what'll happen. And then we'll end up on January the 31st, ringing up Chelsea. Is Gary Cahill available? Yeah, you can have him for 10. We only want to pay 5. 10. Done. And that's what'll happen. That's what'll happen. Perisic is on the decline too, yeah, the logical result. That's exactly what I said. It's too late now. I don't feel Pickford is the answer in goal for United, says the Delta 75. I mean, look, Mourinho, Martial, De Gea and Pogba is something we're going to have to just adjust ourselves to over the coming weeks and months. I don't see anybody leaving United of that quality in January for the same reasons we don't need to sell in January. It's like they're talking about Chelsea and Martial. Forget about it. Forget about it. It's not going to happen. Chelsea can come at us with anything and we're not going to sell. We'll wait till the summer. Although, if Martial is refusing to sign a contract, again, Chelsea go, we'll give you 80 million for Martial in January. United go, no. Martial says, I'm not signing a new contract. Into the summer, he's only got a year left in his contract. He won't sign a new one. Chelsea come back and go 50 million. You would probably have to take it. So never say never. That's the situation we're in. And the situation we are in, as was said a few weeks ago, is because our board is only bothered about money. Only bothered about money. You should not have this situation where players are coming towards the end of their contracts and you're having to negotiate with them. Look at Fellaini in the summer. He was a free agent. He stayed because no one wanted him, but he could have gone anywhere for free. And this is the same situation we've got with 9 players. And why does this keep happening? Because it's cheaper for our club not to negotiate with players halfway through their contract when their wages are going to go up, when you can eke out a few more years of their lower wage. It's all business, but it doesn't work with football because you piss your players off. And that's what happens. It really doesn't work very well at all. Remember, smash a like on the video, everybody. Really would appreciate that, as per usual. And also, just a very quick one, because it works with transfers, you should be able to see the Football Index page up on the screen. The link in the video description is for that. So this is a football trading website, and that's my portfolio at the moment. But let's have a look at the top 200 players. So basically what you do is you buy and sell shares in players and retain it. So as you can see with my portfolio at the moment, I've got De Bruyne, which I'm holding on to, Salah, Gareth Bale, Mason Greenwood, Cristiano Ronaldo. The only players that are making me money at the moment are Greenwood and Ronaldo, but the other 3 are long-term investments. They're going to go up in price. But look at Mason Greenwood. I bought 10 shares in him at 2.76 and already I've made £2 profit in a few days. And that's how it works. So if you look at the top 200 players, Marcus Rashford's on the rise today. And the way that players' price goes up is based on them being in the news. So we're coming up to transfer activity time. So people in the news for transfers, their price increases, and also performances on the pitch. So as you can see, Marcus Rashford is obviously been linked to a lot of transfers, had a good international break. Wilfried Zaha has actually been injured for a while, but he's back from fitness, so his price is going up. Jadon Sancho, just to show you him, or Jadon Sancho, look at his price increase over the last month. He's gone from nearly £4 up to nearly £7 a share in that player. So you can buy and sell your shares in these players. You can also retain them like I do, because I know that long-term forecast their price is going to go up. So yeah, you've got, obviously the link is in the video description for that. Get involved and give it a go. I mean, what I would say is that, you know, a lot of the players are trading at, well, let me have a look at the top 200 players. So Romelu Lukaku, I can't believe his price has gone up, but it has. But if you look at someone like Eden Hazard, his price has actually dropped quite recently, but they can go up to like £15 a share. So if you get on someone like Mason Greenwood, whose price is going to go up and up and up over the next couple of years, you can pull in quite a little bit of profit. So link in the video description for that. Make sure you give it a go. Football Index, as I say, I've got my Mason Greenwood. I mean, to be honest with you, that's part of the reason I'm doing it, really, because there's some younger players at United that I know that are very cheap at the moment, and over the next 18 months, they're going to go up by quite a price. Link is in the video description for that. Give it a go. Buy shares in Fellaini and Darmian, says Telepathic Anthony. I think Rashford is a decent one. It is Football Index, Gabrielle, yes. What I would say is if you're going to give it a go, I use it as a sort of, I've got a little bit of money that I've got touched aside, £100, so I just put that into Football Index, because the reality is, unlike a normal betting platform where you put a bet on United to lose or win for £20 and they lose, you lose your £20. On Football Index, you might buy a player who starts to drop off a little bit, but you're not going to lose your full share, because it's only dropping by a few pence every day. So you just sell it and invest it in someone else. It's there's forums and everything you can get involved in, and it's a bit like Ultimate Team, but you can make money on it. Like Ultimate Team on FIFA, you're just chucking coins away, aren't you? Talking of FIFA, I will be live in about 10 minutes on That's Football, playing a bit of FIFA as well. I know a lot of people like that on a lunchtime. But thanks everybody for watching. Give the Football Index a go. Like I say, trading in players, as I say, I mean, it helps me anyway, but I would invest in Mason Greenwood. He's smacking goals in. He's up to like 250 a share. There's Premier League players who aren't even worth that yet. As soon as he hits the first team, he's going to go. Thanks everyone for watching. Give us your thoughts on all the transfer stuff as well. And I'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight. Tonight is a Discord show, so we'll be taking your calls via Discord. Long live Discord. I'll see you soon on That's Football if you're going to join me there in about 10 minutes. Or I'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock. Thanks everyone for joining in this lunchtime. So pleased to have the transfer show back. Give it a go on Football Index. I'll see you soon.